Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us. Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we're discussing a 2023 launch from Omega. This is the Omega Speedmaster Super Racing chronograph. It marks 10 years since the landmark Seamaster Aquaterra 15,000 Gauss, which was actually the greater than 15,000 Gauss. That was a highly anti-magnetic watch that used a very similar yellow jacket color scheme. This is far more deluxe than that, though, because this includes the new 2023 Omega Spirate regulation system, which includes both an all-new silicone hairspring and a more precise micrometric regulator. So we will get into that in a moment. Let's talk about the basics. A little bit bigger than a standard moon watch in steel, 44.25 millimeters in diameter, 15.3 millimeters thick, which is actually less than I expected, and then 49.9 from lug to lug, and that is the true distance across the wrist because the end link of the bracelet is pivoted. You can see how that pulls straight down out of the lugs, and then it is a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs if you want to accessorize with a strap. The bracelet, designed to evoke a 1960s vintage Speedmaster bracelet. That's why the end link doesn't perfectly close up the gap. It's designed to look a little bit shrunken and undersized for the lugs. Then we have this short link design with oval cross sections, polished outboard, polished intermediates. You can see the primaries are all satin. Quite a few removable links, you'll appreciate, fixed in place by screws. I'll do my best to operate the push-button micrometric adjustment system with gloves. But you push the button, you slide in and out. It's about 2.5 millimeters of incremental adjustable range to fine-tune the fit. The clasp features a striation and some polish externally, the polished Omega logo with some media blast below it, a thick gauge steel single swing arm, and then it is twin trigger release. Nice attention to detail. The trigger is the same oval cross section as the links themselves. Rolling around to the case, very familiar to Omega fans. You see the lyre style lugs, the inward and the outward bevel, both. The outward bevel is polished and runs end to end across the case, which has a thin satin finished midsection. The bezel is polished on its underside. There's a little bit of a cantilever here. When you throw the watch on the wrist, you could see it wears reasonably well for a 44.25 because it does have those pivoted end links, and so the watch is more or less exactly 50 millimeters lug to lug on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Because of the cantilever of the bezel, we were just examining that a moment, it will cause the tightest dress sleeves to get hung up, but a jacket will be just fine. I'd recommend this for wrists my size or larger, so if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference and up, game on. If your wrist is smaller, find a smaller Speedmaster. I would recommend the CK2998 style cases. The watch features a bezel that is ceramic with what Omega describes as Grand Faux enamel infill. So we have a very hard scratch-resistant bezel that has an infill of yellow enamel, according to Omega. We'll do a quick lume shot, because I know these days with Speedmasters, you never know how much of the dial in the bezel is luminescent. It's a fairly standard dial lume right here. And you will note that the second hand of the chronograph is not part of the luminescent scheme. We have a dramatically boxed and cambered sapphire that's designed to give a little bit of a plexi aesthetic. Note that we do have a gloss dial beneath this honeycomb matrix, so it's actually a two-level dial. And outboard, we have the famed racing style seconds and sub-seconds track. So you can see the seconds and the fractions, and this is modeled after the so-called racing dials with this checkered flag-like pattern that Omega built in the late 60s through the 70s. It is, after all, the Super Racing chronograph. So you've got that checkered pattern that's like the checkered flag that flies at the end of a car race. A lot of thoughtful attention to detail goes into this watch. As you can see, the black and the yellow color scheme accented by just a few hints of white. We have an azurage pattern inside each of the sub-registers. We have this little yellow jacket striped magnetic warning that is borrowed from the imagery of the old Aquaterra 15,000 Gauss from 2013. So that's a little nod right there to the milestone watch that was the progenitor of this one. You can also see that the chronograph seconds hand here is a lovely gradient fade from black out to yellow at the edge. We have polished dart style cantilevered indices for the hours, and then a mono counter over at 3 o'clock that features both chronograph minutes and chronograph hours. So you keep this pleasing balanced twin register design and prevent cluttering the dial, but you still get the benefit of having both chronograph minutes and chronograph hours. The watch does have lovely blackened hands for the hours and minutes, a disc for the date that also features black and yellow. We have a time zone function that allows the hour hand to move independently of the rest of the functions. You can see the chronograph continues, the minute hand is not displaced, the running seconds continues. This is great if you are jumping across time zones, flying east or west. Of course, if you pull the crown out all the way, you engage hacking seconds, and that allows you to set the watch against a reference time. The watch does feature a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph, so if you want to get the most of that, turn it over, and you can see there's a skeletonization in the bridge, so you can see the column wheel, which has been polished. And it's a nice crisp feeling column wheel. What you cannot see, by the way, if you ever look at the Omega column wheel, you can see it's highly flattened, and it has some of the characteristics of a cam and some of the characteristics of a column wheel, so it's best described as a sort of hybrid function cycler, though the feel is distinctly column wheel. Vertical clutch, what does it mean? First, there's no play in the system, so if you want to leave your vertical clutch chrono running full time to have center seconds, you can do that with no extra hazard wear or tear to the watch. Also, because of the vertical clutch being seamless, when you start it up, there's no jump or stagger the way you get on a lateral clutch chrono. Beats away at 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is a beat rate specific to silicon hairsprings inside this watch group. We should talk about the regulator. So you can see it's a full balance bridge with a free sprung balance, which makes it very shock tolerant. And yes, the watch is anti-magnetic to the point of being amagnetic for practical purposes to over 15,000 Gauss. There is a new SI14 silicon hairspring. It does have a different profile than the old one, and it's designed to work with this super fine micrometric mechanism that is called the spyrate system. When you add all of these elements, the stud holder, the regulator, and the new hairspring, it is spyrate. And what does that mean practically? It means that the watch is now adjusted to a tolerance of no worse, that is, this is a minimum, no worse of -0 seconds plus 2 seconds per 24 hours. So remember, a COSC chronometer is -4 plus 2 per 24. This is now going to be a 6-position, fully cased up watch test. Not a bare movement, not 5 position, 6 up, cased up, to no worse than -0, so no time lost, plus 2. Keep in mind that there are 86,400 seconds in a day. Now divide 2 seconds by that, multiply by 100. That is the fraction of 1% that this watch is allowed to deviate per day. It is extraordinary. Below that, you can see that the tri-level coaxial is still present and correct. It is a double impulse direct and indirect system that uses tangential or non-sliding friction to impulse the balance. So this is designed by George Daniels back in the 70s, about 1974. He sold it to Omega in the 90s. They industrialized it in 1999, and it became a tri-level purpose-built mechanism with the 8500 family in 2007, which spawned this and every other derivation of the 8500. So this watch is 50 meters water resistant, in addition to being almost immune to all magnetism and quite shock resistant. 54 joules. It has a twin barrel arrangement that gives it 60 hours of power reserve, and you can see that ceramic ball bearings are used for high efficiency. We have arabesque Côte de Genève across the bridges and rotor, as well as blackened and polished screws. Machine finished bevel, as are all of these finishing elements, but they're handsome and worthwhile. The twin barrels making this watch extraordinarily regular over its full power reserve, so it doesn't surge and ebb as power reserve is first wound up to the max and then depleted. Also worth mentioning is the master chronometer certification through which this watch passes. It's everything the COSC is, but as we've already discussed, far more exacting and a fully cased up watch test. So it can test things the COSC doesn't, like water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, and yes, anti-magnetism. And this watch is absolutely stacked with features. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.